UFC Fight Night, Emmett vs Vallejos is this weekend. I'll be breaking down all of the fights and giving you my best bets for each fight. Piera Rodriguez vs Sam Hughes. Piera, she's a very solid striker, but she does mix in the wrestling very well. She's taken every opponent down that she has faced in the UFC. Once she gets you to the ground, she's looking to do damage right away. Overall, she's going to look to pressure Sam Hughes. She is going to look for the clinch. She loves the clinch. She also likes to make you bite on the feints and the fakes just to get you thinking that she is going to shoot a takedown, or she's going to come up with a nice overhand and then shoot a takedown. Overall, she's very solid. She mixes it in very well, and this is a rematch. She did beat Sam Hughes, I believe, in her second or third UFC fight. Sam Hughes, she's a pressure fighter. She loves the blitz in, which I feel like is not the best idea. I feel like she can get caught pretty easily. She's going to want to strike here. She never really wants to wrestle too much unless she has to. She does really like to clinch, especially against the fence. Likes to land some knees, some soft pillow punches, but overall, she is looking to get you to the fence, kill some time off the clock, and try to outpoint fight you. In my opinion, she has faced some lower level fighters recently in her last, I believe, 2 to 3 fights. I don't think it has been the best competition, and overall, I do think Rodriguez will win this fight because she has faced a little bit better competition, in my opinion. And overall, I do think she will win the rematch pretty easily. She's faced Hughes before, and I think Hughes is pretty beatable, especially if you mix in the wrestling, and as long as you outstrike her, it shouldn't be too hard for Rodriguez here. I think Sam Hughes definitely doesn't have enough to get it done, but overall, Rodriguez will be the pick. If you are betting on this, I would probably go Rodriguez by decision or over rounds. Luan versus Hector Sosa. Luan, I was impressed when I was watching tape on him. He is pretty solid, but he is low-key a can. He just doesn't put it together very nicely. Overall, I do think he could have a solid UFC career, but the guys he's faced, he just hasn't been able to get it done. Overall, he did win this fight, but overall, I just don't think he gets it done at all here. His takedown defense is not bad, but it's pretty mid in my opinion. He was supposed to smoke this guy that he did beat, and overall he ended up getting taken down by the guy pretty easily, and I was pretty surprised because he looked like the way better fighter. He definitely should have dominated that fight from start to finish, but he just didn't. Overall, his striking is pretty solid. I just don't think he puts it together very nicely. Overall, I think he kind of looks a little lost in there. He does one thing, but then his opponent will either go for a takedown or hit him with one strike, and then I feel like he kind of loses what he was doing. I think Hector Sosa here, even though he's making his UFC debut, I think he's going to come out blitzing right out the gate. He pressures his opponent right away. At least in the Dana White Contender Series fight, he pressured the guy right away, hit him with a couple strikes, then took him down instantly. Overall, he throws his power. He will go for the takedowns. I just think he's the complete package here, and I do think he has what it takes to beat Luan. Overall, Hector Sosa will be the pick. If you are betting, probably Hector Sosa money line. If you don't like the price on Hector Sosa, maybe take under rounds. We got Bia, we got Rendon. Bia, I think she goes by Beatrice or something like that. It shows it on Google, but when she does fight on the UFC broadcast, it does say Bia. I think she is a very high-level prospect. Her striking does need some work. It's okay. It's not the best. I feel like she's a little, awkward with her striking. She doesn't really know how to fit it into her game. Overall, she has 24 titles at a black belt level in 4 different gi championships, which is crazy to me. She comes over to the UFC, dominates her first fight, high-level BJJ, high-level wrestling. Overall, she gets it done here. Rendon, she did just beat UFC newcomer Alice Pereira, who, in my opinion, when they signed her about a year or 2 ago, it was on Christmas, I think it was a year ago or something like that, I was like, she needs more work. She definitely is not ready for the UFC. I didn't think she was ready whatsoever, because when I watched her fight, she had a lot of holes, and it just seemed she wasn't very experienced. And it proved in the last fight. Rendon just walked her down the whole time. Alice didn't really have much. Rendon didn't even have much either, to be honest. Alice could have easily beaten her, but she just couldn't put her strikes together. She kind of gassed. But Rendon has okay striking. Her overall, I don't think she's too bad. I think she could have a solid UFC career if she's fighting low-level newcomers. But overall, if she's fighting a girl like Bia or any high-level wrestler or high-level striker, she is going to lose. The pick is Bia. I would take under rounds or fight not to go to the distance. I don't think fight will go to the distance. Fight will go to the distance is probably good money, but this fight is not going the distance. It's probably not a good price tag. It's probably like minus 800 or something, but I would take under rounds or Bia by submission or KO, to be honest. I could see her getting her to the ground and pounding her out of there, or even easy sub for her. Brad Tavares, Eric Anders. This fight should be a pretty good fight, to be honest, but overall, I think Brad Tavares gets it done. I think he will get the knockout. Anders, he has some decent striking, but overall, he doesn't want to really strike with you. He just wants to get you to the ground, maybe try to ground and pound you out of there, but overall, I don't really see much to him. He is coming off a loss to Christian Leroy Duncan, who I had beating him easily because Anders isn't that good. But against another 38-year-old Brad Tavares, who has solid striking, likes to use his kicks, has good movement. Overall, his distance management is pretty solid. I just don't think Anders gets it done. I think Tavares might even knock him out here, but it will come down to the cardio. Overall, my pick will be Brad Tavares, only because he is the more solid fighter. I wouldn't really bet on this fight, to be honest. Two 38-year-olds going at it, definitely not where you want to put your money. But if you do, maybe do fight to go the distance, because I don't really think there will be a finish here. But I also have some confidence in Brad Tavares to get the KO. It's kind of 50-50 for me, but this fight probably should go the distance. I don't think it'll be too big of a scrap. It'll probably be a pretty boring fight with Anders clinching a lot against the fence, Tavares trying to either get up from a takedown or just overall dancing around Anders the whole time and outpoint fighting him. Oki, we got Manuel Sosa. So, Oki, he's 2-2 in the UFC. Solid striking. He has some good power. I just don't think he's executed properly in his last couple fights. Mason Jones fight, I think he lost that due to him hurting Jones, and then he just started swinging real wildly. He got a little over aggressive, got a little too excited. I just don't think he executed that fight very well at all. Overall, he does have some vicious ground and pound. Overall, he's a pretty good striker, pretty good prospect, but Manuel Sosa beat Ruffy, got dominated in round 1 on Dana White's Contender Series, and came back and won. He has solid cardio, but overall, Sosa didn't impress me. I'm going to go with a very controversial pick here. I'm going to go Oki by KO round 1, because I think overall, Oki's going to have enough to get him out of there early, and I'm just not impressed with Sosa. But if you are going with a safe pick, I would probably pick Sosa. I'm going with a risky pick in Oki because I believe he has the power to knock out Sosa. But overall, I would say this is a pretty meh fight. I don't think it'll be too good unless Oki gets a KO or Sosa gets a finish. It'll probably be a decision fight. But overall, I wouldn't bet this fight at all because I feel like anything can happen here. Sosa can go out, dominate the fight like he probably should against Oki, but Oki could go out there round 1, get the knockout, or maybe knock him down, maybe get a sub. Anything can happen in this fight. I wouldn't bet this fight, but the pick is Oki for me. Safe pick, I would go Sosa, but I definitely do think the risk is worth it here. Elijah Smith, Yu Young. This is a banger fight. I will not lie, this fight probably one of the best on the card. Overall, Elijah Smith, crazy KO win. He had a rampage slam, knocked the guy out, had some necessary ground and pound in there too. Very explosive. He's always looking to either land a flying knee or just something crazy. He has good striking, good wrestling. His movement's pretty solid. Throws with power. Overall, he's a pretty solid prospect for the UFC. I do think he will go decently far, but he not champ material yet. I do think he does need to level up a little bit more. Young, very good striker, very good technical striker. Overall, he has solid takedown defense. He will go for some takedowns himself, but his takedown defense hasn't been tested too much. We will see against Smith, see if Smith can get him down, but I think he can withstand Smith, make it a good scrap. He has some good movement. He has a solid chin. He just went to war against Long Zhao, and Long Zhao's coming off a controversial loss. Well, not really kind of controversial because he nut kicked him 3 times. But overall, Young's got solid cardio. He will be willing to brawl with Smith if he wants to. Maybe to start trading a little bit at the end of the round or something like that. And his last fight, I think it was the last 20 seconds, just chucked knucks with Long Zhao for the last 20 seconds, just brawled it out. Risked losing, but I think his chin is solid enough to where he won't get knocked out unless Elijah Smith hits him with such a clean shot in the right location that it just shuts his lights out. But the pick will be Elijah Smith just because I think he has the better wrestling, not better striking, but overall he's a little more explosive, and I think he will catch you off guard. And I think it'll be a very close fight, maybe a split decision for Elijah Smith. Vitor Beltrino, Steven Asplund. Do not bet on this fight unless you're betting Steven Asplund on. I think Asplund is an underdog. I'm not 100% sure on that. But Beltrino hasn't been able to train with his right hand, I believe, for about a month or two due to an injury. He came out and said that about within the last week, and I'm not sure why he even came out and said that, to be honest. He has some good KO power. He has good submissions, good wrestling, good BJJ. He's a very solid prospect, but at a minus 250 for Beltrino, I wouldn't bet that, to be honest, especially with that hand injury. He's not going to be able to knock out Asplund unless his hand is all good. But I would have went Beltrino here, but Asplund should probably win by KO in the first round just because of his striking. He has a high output. I think he threw about 150 strikes within 2 rounds in his last fight. If he's going to win here, he's going to have to land a clean shot on Beltrino. I'm going to go Steven Asplund by KO. Chris Curtis versus Orlabai. This fight is a 50-50 fight kind of to me. Actually, no, it'd be more 60-40, only because Orlabai is the better fighter here. Chris Curtis, I feel like he has so much potential, or did have so much potential, but he's so stuck in his ways, and the gym he trains at, I believe he trains at Extreme Couture, where they all fight the same. He's a low output striker. He's very technical. He's going to walk his opponent down for 15 minutes. He has power, but to be honest, he's not too big of a threat. He's a very slow starter. I don't even think he really threw a strike in his last fight in the first 2 to 3 minutes. If you have a slow start like that, you get Orlabai, who's going to come in, start fainting, make you start biting on stuff, and overall, he might even finish Curtis here. Curtis did get finished by Kopylov, which was a little controversial, but I think it was fair. Orlabai, I think he's going to come out here. He's going to try to pressure Curtis, but he's going to be on the back foot. He's going to use his movement, stay at a good distance. He's going to use his striking, maybe land a nice power shot to Curtis's chin. I think Orlabai is so tough here that he can outdog Curtis due to he's overall just faster. His striking's better. I'm not sure about wrestling-wise. I think Orlabai, I would give the edge to Orlabai only because he actually goes for takedowns, unlike Curtis, who doesn't really go for takedowns that often, at least in his last fight that I realized. Overall, I'm going to go Orlabai by KO round 2. I just don't think Chris Curtis is that good. Charles Johnson, Bruno Silva. I think this fight is a trap. Johnson's coming off a loss by KO. He has good striking, his movement and his counters are very solid. He has solid takedown defense. His recovery's solid, but at the same time, he's still going to feel it. In his last fight, he showed he did have some solid recovery. He didn't fully go out. He was still there in the fight. He just fully couldn't recover, though. He will stay in the fight. He is a dog. No matter what happens in the fight, he's going to go out there and just bring it. He does have some solid cardio. I really like his combos. But in a guy like Bruno Silva, lots of fakes, lots of feints, very solid striking, solid wrestling. He has some sneaky submissions. He can sink it in with a matter of seconds, make you tap within probably 5 to 8 seconds. It happened in his last fight against Park, and Park was a pretty solid prospect. I don't think he is now. He definitely needs to go back to the drawing board and think of a new plan to try to get to the top 15. Bruno Silva is very fast. His striking's fast. His wrestling, he can take it back with a matter of seconds. Overall, my pick here will probably be Charles Johnson. I think he has enough to get it done, but at the same time, I am not counting Bruno Silva out. I was a big Bruno Silva hater. I just didn't believe into his hype. I didn't believe that he was that good. But over the last couple fights, he's shown he has improved, and he still is working his way to a top 10, I believe. Overall, the pick will be Charles Johnson. If you are betting on this fight, I don't know. I probably wouldn't, because I just don't think for the odds it's good enough. I believe if you are taking Silva, that's a good bet. But other than that, I wouldn't take it. Marwan versus Harry Hardwick. The battle of mid. In my opinion, I see a lot of people picking Marwan. I see some people picking Harry. In my opinion, I'd rather not even make a pick, because Marwan, his striking's solid, he has solid power, but he got knocked down twice in his last fight. He kind of fights like an idiot. He has no striking defense. It's horrible. Like, his chin is wide open for you to just land a nice right hand right to his chin, knock him down. In my opinion, he couldn't even lost his last fight. That second knockdown where he was kind of slowly falling to the ground, I feel like the ref could have called it there. There were some fights that on Dana White's Contender Series that ended like that, where they were slowly falling like that, and it was called. I was surprised it didn't get called. He is a dog, but he has so many holes in his game. He makes so many mistakes. He gives up his back a decent amount of time. But Harry Hardwick, he's going to walk you down. His striking is... I don't even know what to say of his striking. I would say it's meh, but I don't even think that's the right word. It's just so bad, to be honest. He's a dog, but he can take a beating. That's the only bright side at picking Harry Hardwick. He can take a beating, and he can maybe land a shot on Marwan. His takedown defense is not bad. He's very hard to knock out. You know, you might be saying, oh, he just got knocked out. No, his leg got torn to shreds on 3 days' notice. I'm not really counting that. I don't think Marwan's going to shred his leg like that. I don't think he has leg kicks like that. Overall, Harry should have a solid fight here. I think it'll be a decent scrap. But overall, the pick will be Marwan, even though it hurts to pick him. But I'm just going to pick Marwan just because he is a little more solid on the feet. I wouldn't bet this fight, though. If you bet on this fight, I don't know. You probably shouldn't bet on UFC if you're betting this fight. If you do think Marwan's a lock, I mean, go ahead. Add him to a parlay. Could boost the odds, but me personally, I'm not going anywhere close to this fight because it's pretty much two pretty shit fighters. Like, Marwan, that could be a solid prospect if he actually improved his game. We'll see on Saturday if he has improved, but I don't think he's going to improve that much. Andre Fili versus Jose Delgado. This is a little bit of a biased pick. Keep that in mind. Andre Glass Chin Fili is not beating Jose Delgado. Not in a million years. These guys fought 100 times. Jose Delgado is winning 100 times. Delgado, good striking, good power. His movement's very solid. He's not just going to stay in one spot. He's going to keep moving around, pick his shots, overall land that power shot and knock you out. His takedowns are really solid. His scrambles are solid. He did lose to Nathaniel Wood, who is a very, very tough prospect to finish. very good prospect in my opinion. I do think I lean Delgado in that fight, but I'm not too mad about it going to Wood. Overall, I'm going to go Delgado here because he had a 7-fight finish streak. Andre Philly, his striking solid, his chin is meh, but he can take. It depends what version of Philly shows up. If the version of Philly that can take a punch shows up, who knows? He could win the fight, but I think he'll still lose. But sometimes his chin doesn't show up and he can't take a punch. His wrestling's pretty solid. I did have him winning in his last fight. Did make me some money, which I was pretty happy about. But I am back on the hate train on Andre Philly. Jose Delgado is going to go out there and finish Philly within the first 30 seconds to a minute. Cutelaba, Umar Sy. This fight was a little tricky for me because Cutelaba, he's 8-10 in the UFC. His best win is Roundtree, which was years ago. He's been finished by every solid prospect. He's going to pressure you for 3 rounds. He has a point styling. His striking is very mid. I'd say below mid, to be honest. All he really has, he'll blitz in, throw some big overhands, throw some leg kicks. That's about it. I wasn't impressed with his last fight. He lost to Bukakis, where Bukakis probably could have easily dominated him, but he chose to kind of brawl with him a little bit. Cutelaba thrives in the clinch. That's about it. The only time I saw Cutelaba look good in that fight was in the clinch. Other than that, I'm like, Bukakis low-key should have knocked him out. He was he was waiting around. He wasn't throwing much, only throwing big shots. And a guy like Umar Sy, he's going to take advantage of that. He has a very wide stance. I don't think he'll be taken down. He's 3-1 in the UFC. He has a KO win, a submission win, a decision win. And I believe he did lose to Alonzo Menifield by decision. He's a technical striker. He's patient. He has KO power. He does have some solid submissions. He has some good takedowns. His timing's pretty good on the takedowns. Overall, he's a very exciting prospect in my opinion. I do think Umar Sy goes out there and finishes Cutelaba because I don't think Cutelaba's that good. I think he is ending the end of his career. Overall, he will be 8-11 after this. Unless Umar goes out there, doesn't really have a game plan, and lets Cutelaba take over, just pressuring him, and just barely outpointing fighting him. If this fight goes to decision, I could see a split decision going to Sy, only because Cutelaba fights so weirdly, and I'm not even sure how this last fight was a split decision, but I don't know. I guess he's doing something right in the judges' eyes. But overall, the pick is Umar Sy. I wouldn't necessarily bet on this fight. I think it's a very weird fight. I wouldn't really bet on most of these fights on the card, but there is a couple good fights I would bet on. But overall, Umar Sy is the pick. If you are betting, maybe take over 1.5 rounds, but also that is pretty risky because I do think Sy will get maybe a KO win, knocks him out cleanly. Jillian Robertson, my GOAT. She has solid striking. She definitely does need to get better. It is getting a little better, but does need a little bit of work. She's a very high-level wrestler, very good grappler. Her jiu-jitsu is very, very good. She holds the record for the most submissions in UFC history in the women's divisions. Doesn't matter what division it is. What I mean by that is, if you look at all the divisions, she has the most submissions. Amanda Lemos. Where do I start? Pull out merchant. She does not know how to make it to fight day, to be honest. She pulled out of this fight once, and she was too scared to fight her. That's about it. I don't think Lemos is that good. She's coming off a loss to Tatiana Suarez. If you're losing to Tatiana Suarez, what do you think Jillian Robertson's going to do to her? Jillian's a way better version of Tatiana, except for the wrestling background. I think Jillian's a way better on the ground at least, because with Tatiana, she will get you to the ground, but she's going to do damage. She's not really going to go for a submission. A girl like Jillian, she's going to go for the damage and the submission. But overall, Lemos, she's patient. She has some good distance management. Somehow she was able to steal around because Tatiana can't strike. Let's be real. But overall, I do think she sucks. I don't think she has enough to get it done here. I think Jillian's going to outstrike her. She's going to pretty much dominate the fight wherever she wants. Preferably, I'd rather it be on the ground because that's where she thrives. I do think Lemos could edge out on this with striking at least. I think she could outstrike her a little bit, but at the same time, I have full confidence in Jillian Robertson getting it done wherever she wants, to be honest. The pick will be Robertson, but if you are betting this fight, maybe take Robertson, but I'd parlay her with someone else. For the main event, we got Josh Emmett, Kevin Vallejos. This fight is a very tricky fight for me, only because I was contemplating whether if I wanted to pick Emmett by lucky KO or Kevin by overall being way better than Josh Emmett because Josh Emmett only has an overhand. Emmett, he does have crazy power. Kevin also has crazy power. Kevin's a dog. He has a very solid chin. He went to decision with Jean Silva. I don't think he's been knocked out. His chin is, man, it's up there with Diego's, but we will see how it is after this fight. Only because it hasn't been tested by a huge power striker. Yes, Silva is a power striker, but I don't think he has so much power to where he will shut your lights out with one shot. I feel like it's more of a boom, he wobbles you, ground and pound you out of there. Overall, Josh Emmett probably should lose this fight, especially it being a 5-round fight. In a technical standpoint, if you're technically fighting him, if you're being technical, picking your shots right, you will easily beat Josh Emmett. It's overall how you deal with his big overhands and his power shots. But in this fight, I do think Kevin is going to go out there, beat up Emmett's leg, reduce his power a little bit by beating up his leg, and then probably not get him out of there. Emmett is coming off a loss. I don't really think I can pick him, to be honest, because he only really thrives in the pocket, and Vallejos probably won't go in the pocket with him too much. He's going to use his movement, stay on the outside, pick his shots. Overall, wait for Emmett to make a mistake, then go for that power shot. The pick will be Kevin by KO. I do think he gets KO here. Maybe round 4 KO I'm going to go. Could even go round 3, but I feel like the fight will go to championship rounds, and Kevin will get the finish. If you are betting this fight, maybe take Kevin by KO or decision. I think decision could be even a solid bet. If you take Emmett by KO, if you hedge your bet with Josh Emmett KO, I think that's still pretty solid as well. But I will not be betting on either of these guys due to it being such a weird fight, due to Emmett could land that lucky KO shot, or Kevin go out there and easily dominate the fight. Last week, we had a pretty mid card for me, pick-wise. I do think that card was a huge letdown. Oliveira, pretty boring fight, but he did dominate Holloway. But, who dominates Holloway? Coyote did his thing. Ritter low-key sucks. Ritter did do good, but the Fighting Nerds effect takes place again. Bryce Mitchell moved up because of Jean Silva. RDR is now moving up due to Coyote. Raul Rosas Jr. won by decision. What a surprise. He's boring as shit. He is not touching that belt. Johnson didn't win, but hey, I thought he was the better fighter out there, but racially motivated Drew Dober. What can you say? Bruno Ferreira, I was disappointed he lost, but hey, RoboCop showed he leveled up. Zal won that fight. You cannot tell me difference. Yes, he did kick him in the nuts 3 times, but low-key, if you ask me, that fight should have been a draw. Crazy how you can lose 3 rounds and still win a fight. Dante Johnson had a close fight with Brundage. I don't think it was a split decision. I think it was a pretty clear Johnson win, but hey, we'll take it. Montez, easy sub with, I believe he got the Anaconda choke again. Cody Durden lost. Aguilar, that sucks. Tobias should have won that. Made Deere look like a top 15 fighter, to be honest, which is crazy. Went out there, didn't have any idea how to fight a southpaw. I guess he just didn't do any tape study or just didn't even do anything, really. I think he just showed up to the gym, trained, went home. Didn't really study his opponent. Didn't really he didn't really want it, to be honest. He didn't really want that win. If he wanted that win, he would have went out there and showed that he wanted it. But overall, he had a pretty lackluster performance. Fernandez gets knocked out, which is crazy. I was thinking about going Belalto, but Fernandez should have won that fight. But at the same time, Belalto's a dog. So went 6 for 12. That's a 50% pick rate. Not the best. I usually like to aim for about 60. But this weekend will be a lot better with pick-wise. My parlay. Jillian Robertson versus Delgado. I got it at plus 101, I believe, or plus like 10 something. Now it's minus 117. To be honest, it's still solid odds. It's good enough odds to where you could still make some money. It's not exactly you put $10, you win another 10, right? So 20 in total. But you put 10 in, you'll win about $8 or $9. I do think it is a very solid bet. I think Jillian's going to go out there and dominate. I think Delgado's going to go out there and dominate. I think this is the safest bet you can make on this card, unless Delgado somehow loses to Andre Philly. And if this parlay misses, I swear I will stop UFC betting, because it would be crazy if one of these guys lost to a lower level fighter, especially Amanda Lemos or an Andre Philly glass chin. But overall, this is the bet. Take it or don't take it. It's up to you. But in my opinion, I would take it due to it being probably the safest bet on this card. I was thinking about adding Kevin into this, but that's a little too risky, especially with Josh Emmett, because Josh Emmett could pull off a crazy upset. But overall, that'll end the video. I will see you about same time next week with either some very mid picks or some pretty good picks.